Hey, y'all, and welcome to the Convos with Anita Santiago podcast. I am your host, Anita Santiago. Please like, review, share, and subscribe to the podcast on all major platforms. Stop over by the website, www.lifeconvos, that's lifeconvos.com. And also, if you want to reach out to me, you can email me at convoscws@gmail.com. So we're right in the middle of the holiday season. And a couple of episodes ago, I talked about grieving through the holidays, how those of us who have loved ones who are grieving can support them, and how those of us who are grieving can get through the holidays. As I was reflecting on that episode, I wanted to kind of step back a little bit and talk about holiday season and mental health, um, not just grieving, not just bereavement, but the importance of mental health during the holiday season. Holiday seasons can be very tough, and there's a sense of, on the one hand, a festive, happy holiday season coming around, but there's also a lot that comes with that can impact mental health. So, like I said in the other episode, I kind of talked about grieving in the holiday seasons, but I want to talk about mental health in the holiday season. And I think it's really important that we understand how this impacts our mental health, and also having that perspective of what we can do about it to make our mental health better. So, for a lot of people, the holiday season brings pressure of, getting gifts, making others happy, pressure to be happy, family gatherings, because we have those family dynamics where um, maybe you get along with some family members and not others. Maybe there's conflict between you and your parents or you and your siblings, and that can be stressful because there's an expectation during the holidays that if we're having a family gathering, that the family's gathering is going to be there. And all of these pressures can really come together to press down on our sense of well-being. And I think for people who really feel that they have to achieve certain things, I have to make sure my kids have a good Christmas. I have to make sure I can buy the types of presents or give the types of gifts that I feel others should have. Um, I have to be um, I have to be jovial or happy at the company uh, holiday party. I have to go to the company holiday party. So all of these things together can be really, really stressful. They can cause anxiety. They can cause depression. You could be overwhelmed. You can be burned out. And so when the holiday seasons are over, when the holiday season is over, a lot of times people go, "Oh my God, I'm so tired. I can't even function." Well, that's because if you're in a space where you feel a lot of pressure, anxiety, or depression that's converging with you trying to meet all these expectations during the holiday season, that is a lot of energy. That takes a lot of energy to do that. And so it doesn't seem unusual that you could be spent or burn out at the end of that process, because the holiday season typically starts around Thanksgiving and lasts all the way through the new year. So that's quite a bit of time to deal with the expectations of holidays. So let's talk about some of the things that make the holiday stressful. I think probably one of the biggest things is the family dynamics. And, if there are conflict in relationships that make it difficult for you to be around each other, and we all know the memes and the stories about that auntie or that uncle that makes the holiday gathering difficult. those conflicts and those unresolved issues can make it stressful if you're trying to go to that event and you're trying to get along with everyone, and you know there's going to be a bunch of conflict and arguing and these sorts of things, but you want to be there because it's your family. Even just saying that can invoke stress. And then there are the family dynamics where people aren't even speaking to each other. There's been a break in the relationship, and you want to be with your family, perhaps, or family members want to get together, but there's been no contact. There's been a falling out. There's been a fundamental rift in the family, which means that now we can't get together on the holidays, which could provoke a sense of loss and sadness and not belonging. Because one of the things that we see in the holiday movies and the holiday theme is family. Our family getting together and sharing a meal and sharing joy and happiness. And if there's been some kind of rift within the family, and there's um, pockets or groups of people, we're on this person's side, we're on this person's side, and it leaves the family in this state where you can't get together and enjoy the holidays, that can be a stressor. Everyone needs to everyone needs to feel like they belong somewhere. And for those people who may not have family members to be with for whatever reason, that can be stress provoking. Well, where do I go? How do I celebrate the holidays? If I don't have a family that gets together typically, and I don't have anywhere to go, what do I do? And it can leave you feeling kind of isolated and alone. And that is also stress provoking. So the family dynamics, whether your family is full of conflict, speaking or not speaking, or whether you're disconnected in some way and you don't have a family. And I'm thinking about maybe people who have grown up in foster care, or some other way you've been disconnected from family, and you may not have family. That can produce a lot of stress, especially when every time you look around, there's a song, there's a movie about how great it is to have your family during the holidays. And the sadness that can come with that can be debilitating sometimes, where people may not want to participate or do anything because it's so hard to deal with that stress. And there's no easy answer to that. If whether you have a family that's full of conflict or you're disconnected from your family, there's not an easy way to figure out what to do. You may be with your family that has a lot of conflict, but you don't have a good time and it's not a good experience for you. Or you can, try to find a place to be. Well, I'll go to a restaurant and there's a lot of people there that may not have family, but you still don't really feel like you fit in. So again, the whole family dynamic can be very stress provoking. In addition to that, probably the number two stressor during the holiday season is the financial strain. Um, we are in a tough economy and things are expensive, and it's hard sometimes to get those kind of gifts or support people the way that you want to. And in some families, that is a really important thing. Gift giving is a reflection of how we feel about each other and just enjoying the season. But, when we know people are going into debt on their credit cards and they're maybe taking extra money out of a retirement account for the sake of trying to meet the expectation of that surrounding gift giving, that can be very stress provoking. And a lot of times in mental health, you guys know that I work in mental health. Um, in therapy, you see people coming in because they're frustrated because now they have this big financial situation they have to figure out because maybe they overspent or or went into debt to try to make the holidays work or make the holidays be good. And you really see this with parents and children. Parents want their children to have a really good Christmas. They want to get them all the great things. And a lot of the things now are very expensive. So when I was young, way, way back in the day, we had things like pixie sticks. They were actually literally sticks in a can, threw up in the air and they fell on the ground and you picked them up, kind of like Jenga. Um, and you picked them up without moving the other stick. Or we had jacks, we had Lincoln logs, we had things that weren't expensive. But now kids have Nintendo Switch and um, PS5 and Xbox and some of these things that are really expensive and, may not be easy for families to provide if that's what they want to get for their children. I even remember it used to be a thing with us where you got a stocking with an orange and it was nuts and candy. It was like a standard Christmas type thing. Gift giving over the holidays, not just Christmas, but gift giving has changed dramatically from what I remember. And I would probably say my parents had their experiences were even more basic. But now in the age of technology, kids have the latest iPhones and different things like that. So the financial strain of the holiday season can be really, really tough. And I speak about Christmas because that's what I'm familiar with. I know there are a lot of holidays in this season between November and January, but I think that challenge can still be the same if you don't have the financial resources to provide those things that you would like to provide to celebrate whatever holiday it is. Um, Unrealistic expectations. Like I just said, kids these days, they have new iPhones, they have Nintendo Switch, they have these electronic games. And that can be a lot of pressure for parents to provide, especially if kids want more than one thing. They want all the things because why? They're interconnected and, they allow kids to communicate with others and do the things that they do. That could be a lot of pressure. And what parent doesn't want to give their child the best holiday season? So those expectations can be really, really tough. And then there's just regular bills. I saw a meme how the bills stole Christmas, right? Because even though whether you're a parent or a family member and you're getting the gifts and you're planning it out, you still got your everyday bills that have to be paid. So this can get stressful. Do I have enough resources to do this all? And for a lot of people, with the interest rates being higher, the economy being tougher, money's just not going as far as it used to. And that's where that strain can come in. Um, Things and predatory lenders sometimes jump in at this time of the year, payday loan and title loan and other forms of predatory lending um, start to become more prevalent as they seem to offer a way that you can, potentially get extra money that you need to do the things that you're trying to do. But predatory lending is just that. It's predatory. And if you jump in that pool, that can be even more stress provoking. Why? Because now you have borrowed money at a really high interest rate. It's got to be paid back on a certain type of a schedule. And again, it seems like it could be a solution, but it could actually make everything that you're feeling around financial strain and having enough money even worse. So, um, the stressors of family, financial strain, and expectations of others can really, really do a number on our mental health. And again, we might start feeling anxiety, And for some groups of people, that anxiety can show up as stomach aches, headaches, back pain, not just the feeling of worry. You can feel down. Depression doesn't always mean that you're laying on the floor crying your eyes out. Depression can look like lack of energy, being unable to focus or concentrate. So, those things that you're experiencing that you may chalk up to just being tired or shopping or whatever could actually be some of that mental health stress that comes along with the holidays. And if we're not careful, if we're not very careful and we're not objective, we can take those issues like family dynamics, um, financial strain, and unrealistic expectations, and all of a sudden see ourselves as being inadequate or falling short if we don't make those goals over the holidays. So, if I'm supposed to host Christmas dinner and for some reason I'm so tired now because I've been shopping and I've been cooking, and now I got to ask people to bring stuff over because I can't do it all, you may start to feel like, wow, not only am I under this strain, but I can't even do the things that I said that I was going to do. So, with all of that being said, and us, about to come out of the holiday season, it would be good to kind of think about some tips or some coping strategies that can help us manage the stress and anxiety. The first tip that could be helpful is setting boundaries. Um, Setting boundaries, having a limit on what you can do. If you know that you can't do Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas dinner, and New Year's dinner, then the boundary should be, I'll take one of those three. Somebody can take the other two. Having boundaries when it comes to money and gifts, especially for your kids. Maybe you set a boundary that says, hey, you get one really good gift every year, and take the pressure off of you for trying to provide everything on your child's list of things that they want. That could be a way to better manage financially, better manage expectations, and, kind of set a tone around, okay, it's the holidays and we want you to have something really, really nice, but we can't get, the whole list. So we'll get you one nice thing. Setting boundaries with how long you do things, how much time you spend with family. So if you have a family where there's a lot of conflict or there's a lot of dynamic relationships or a lot of stuff going on within the family, maybe setting a boundary that, okay, I'm going to spend Thanksgiving and New Year's with you all, but maybe Christmas I'm going to spend with my other side of the family or with my kids, or create a new tradition. I think sometimes because there are expectations within families, we don't necessarily feel we're empowered or we have the option to say, I'm going to do something different this year. Or maybe I'm not going to do as much this year. I'm not going to spend as much time with you. Setting boundaries is a very good practice, and not just during the holiday season, but on a daily. But during this time where you may feel like you're being pulled apart, setting boundaries can be a good way to deal with the holiday stress, and anxiety that comes along with it. Another great tip for managing mental health during the holidays is self care. Self care, self care, self care. This applies to men and women because typically when we say self care or we see it in advertising, it's directed towards women. Men need self care too. So prioritizing what that looks like for you. Maybe it's not getting dressed on Saturday and watching old movies all day. Maybe it's having a dish that you really enjoy. Maybe it's some quiet, soft music. Maybe it's reading a book. Maybe it's sitting in a window getting some sunshine. Whatever works for you as far as self care, do it. Do it often, and make sure that you're having that downtime and you're stepping away from, especially other people's expectations during the holidays. For those who are helpful in their families, you do a lot in your family, make sure you step back. Fulfill what you need to fulfill, but make sure you step back and give yourself that time and space that you need, so that if you are under pressure, you are feeling anxiety, you have time where you practice self care and you bring the intensity of what you're feeling down so that you can manage through those situations. Another thing during the holidays is limiting your social media time. Um, if you're struggling through some things, especially with family dynamics, strained family relationships, strained relationships with your children, either young children or adult children, consuming a lot of social media where this messaging about everything is beautiful, loving, and joyful when you're not feeling that way can amplify any negative emotions that you're feeling. And what I mean by that is that if you have family dynamics that can't be resolved and you're constantly seeing messages of loving families, it could put you in a space of feeling, sad, down, or alone. Not to say that that's always going to happen. Quote, the keyword is could. So if you have a better handle on how much time you're spending on social media, you're not being bombarded with messages that not only may be challenging for you, but also may make you feel like you're not meeting other people's expectations. So you're seeing social media and you're seeing people shopping and buying all this jewelry and gifts and things like that, but you can't do that for your loved ones. That can also be triggering, and it could cause you to question yourself and feel like, dog, I wish I could do for my family. And again, social media, television media is messaging. So you have to understand that there are messages behind everything that you're listening to and watching. And so just limiting your exposure to social media can really, really keep your anxiety levels down, keep your stress levels down, and help you navigate tough times. Um, for those who really, really struggle through the holidays and really, really have a hard time getting through the holidays, here's my plug in for seeking out professional help. I've been a therapist for 8 years now. Um, One of the reasons I went into mental health was because just in my own family experience, seeing people struggle with things um, and not having a way to really address it. Coming up in the past, in the 80s, mental health wasn't something that was really talked about. Mental health wasn't promoted as part of health. And my own personal philosophy is there's no physical health and mental health. It's all health. And so if you're struggling in the holiday season, there are many, many, many competent therapists out here that are ready, willing, and able to help you develop deeper strategies and gain more insight on what you're experiencing. Um, this is a tough economy. Funds are limited. So here's a couple of ideas as far as professional help, especially if you're struggling financially. Do you have an employee assistance program at your job? If you do, often those programs come with so many sessions with a therapist or a life coach that you don't have to pay for. So that would be a way to seek out help. There are also community organizations that offer sliding scale or no cost help for you. YWCA is one of those that provides help to women who are struggling with different things. So that would be a resource that you can check into. And there are so many more. My point is that if you are looking for help or wanting help, there's a way to get it, and it doesn't have to cost $1 billion. And there are a lot of us out here that are very, very ready, willing, and able to help people through tough holiday seasons and issues that come along with it. So if you need professional help to get um, through what you're experiencing, then please seek it out. Please seek it out. We need to get rid of this stigma around mental health, and that seeking out mental health means you're crazy. It doesn't mean that. It means that you're having a tough time and you're going to someone who has been trained and has experience on helping you develop insight, strategies, and moving through things that you're experiencing. Seeking out a therapist doesn't mean that you're crazy. And I'm so glad, especially with Gen Z, that they have they're really embracing mental health and therapy. And I think that's helping change the conversation and improve or decrease the stigma around seeking professional help. So if you need it, get it, and don't struggle through the holidays. And here's the last tip: be good to yourself. Many people spend the holiday season doing for others, providing for others, helping for others, whether they're volunteering or being with their families. There are so many people that give so much of themselves to others. But the biggest tip I can give you for navigating holiday seasons that could be stressful or anxiety provoking is to be good to yourself. All that stuff that you're giving to other people during the holiday season, make sure you turn around and give it to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be giving to yourself. Be loving to yourself. And do all those things. And I think, you know, whether you do those things of setting boundaries, self-care, limiting your social media, and being good to yourself, whether you do them all together or pick one to do individually, I think that you would see a big improvement in being able to navigate the holiday season. Um, Again, thank you for stopping by. Let me bring this topic to you. I think that we should, going forward, we should really, really be aware of how our mental health can be impacted during the holiday seasons, and taking this information, sharing it with family members, or even using it ourselves to just make sure that we're in a better space. So thanks so much for stopping by. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and review to the podcast on all the major platforms. You can reach me at convoscws@gmail.com. If you have any questions about this topic or questions about mental health resources, I'd be happy to help you if I can. And just thank you so much for supporting. Happy listening.